This is Tata, and welcome to the Wrestling Time Post Show. It is Wednesday, April 3rd, 2024, and tonight I'll be talking about AEW Dynamite, but I'm not alone. Joining me is fellow wrestling maniac, Josh.
How's it going, guys? And yes, Tata, it is Wednesday, and you know what that means. It is time for AEW Dynamite.
Yes, exactly. We've got quite a few things to discuss, but let's kick things off talking about this Adam Copeland in-ring promo, which got so many people talking. So as we all know, CM Punk was a guest on the MMA Hour where he said some not so flattering things about AEW and Tony Khan. And I feel like this opening promo, as passionate as it was by Adam Copeland, I feel like this was a response to CM Punk's comments. What were your thoughts on this promo?
Oh, definitely. I mean, the promo I thought was good. I dare say I'd forgotten about Punk's comments, but once he started saying, I will put that locker room against anybody, I thought, okay, Grandpa, it's okay. Take your medicine and calm down. Because, WWE's thing has always been, look, don't respond to the competition. Again, granted, the passionate promo of saying, look, let's all love wrestling. I liked it. I really enjoyed that. I thought, okay, this has got to be going somewhere. But once he started in on kind of the, I don't want to say meta response, but kind of the little meta hint response to saying that it's a good company, it's a great people. Like, we already know this. If we're watching the show, we already know this. We've already made our choice for Wednesday. We could be watching anything in the world except for AEW, but we're here watching AEW Dynamite. Even myself, who don't follow AEW closely, to me, it was good up until he started pushing it, and I was like, okay, he's already gone. Let's move forward. But it's almost like, we're going to talk about it, but let's move forward. So it kind of was a mixed message to me.
I also said it felt forced. Dax Harwood cut a promo after the show too. I didn't see that, but I'd be curious to see what he said. I did like the fact that he did bring up how, like, he said AEW makes pro wrestling fun and it makes it better, and that, like, it pushed the industry and made it a better place. I don't know if you've been watching AEW since the beginning, since its inception in 2019. I have. Mm-hmm. And I have to say, it was a nice breath of fresh air and definitely a welcome change when it was first created, especially at the time that WWE was just so, it was sometimes unwatchable during that time. So definitely having AEW around is good for the industry, and even having other promotions around too. TNA's been around 20-something years.
Yeah.
And a lot of people sleep on TNA, and they're doing pretty good too. Overall, what I feel like is it doesn't matter what you like, doesn't matter what you watch, as long as you support pro wrestling and you support the wrestlers. We need more opportunities for wrestlers. AEW can't sign everybody. WWE can't sign everybody. We need more places for wrestlers to work.
You know what I love, though? One thing Edge said that I don't know if this is a new tagline, but I actually love the idea of, if you remember WCW's thing, WCW, where the big boys play, when he said we're the best wrestle. Honestly, I love that tagline because, look, if we're going to go all out and say we've got the best wrestlers, TNA used to be TNA, cross the line, and I always loved it because it was so different, right? And in the same with this, I honestly hope they kind of adopt that tagline, even though it wasn't supposed to be. AEW, we're the best wrestle. It's a great tagline, and, they're known for the 5-star matches over story, at least supposedly. I guess that's definitely not true, I don't think, but I like it. I think in a way they might have found a marketing tagline without really meaning to in that promo. So AEW,
IO says, my motto is, who cares what others think? Just move on and grind. Other companies have to put up with that, like TNA. Yeah, that's true. Like, a lot of people, like I said earlier, sleep on TNA. Sometimes they feel like TNA is often forgotten, in the mix.
I think it's because they moved so much. I think that was the problem, because they moved from one channel to the other. But then now, again, they're on YouTube. And you and I discussed it when we first met about no TNA's on YouTube, what it is. And so I subscribed, and I thought, you know what, I'll start watching. And I've got TNA Plus and trying to catch up on TNA and learn who these characters are. I've kind of kept up on the sidelines, but now that I know they're out there again, yeah, I'll admit I was an avid TNA watcher for a long time. And then I just kind of got out of it because they moved to Pop TV and it got hard to find them on television and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I definitely think that TNA is. I'm hoping they're going to get a comeback. I really hope that if Anthem's going to do what they did to Scott D'Amore, they better do something big to make up for it. That's all I can say.
We'll save that discussion for another time.
Yes.
But for right now, just to kind of wrap this opening promo up, I have to say, like, I could see why this promo generated a mix of reactions, because it was kind of like, why are you also going to have Adam Copeland, who's not an AEW original, go out there and say this? You know, was this promo necessary?
I mean, the passion part, yes. I think it could have bled into a let's move on. He was here. He's gone now. We're the best wrestle. And then you could have gone into, okay, what's my next feud going to be, instead of now introducing Will Ospreay. It was kind of weird. There should have been something more, I think. Again, I like the promo overall, but I think it could have cut out like 3 minutes of it and it would have been fine. Let's move on. Let's move on. Let's go.
Yeah. Jack Perry ain't getting away from that Punk cloud. Yeah, he's definitely not. I think he's going to follow him.
Yep.
So before we move on to what happened afterwards, let's talk about this contract signing with Samoa Joe and Swerve Strickland. As we all know, in wrestling, contract signings, weddings, and celebrations always end in disaster, and this was no different.
Oh,
I love the fact that, like, Swerve Strickland, he had that chain around him, and he called Samoa Joe a bitch, cheap shot at him, and then attempted to choke him out with that chain. And then, like, you see Samoa Joe hit Swerve Strickland with the chain, and, like, he's all busted open, and, like, Joe's face when Swerve Strickland laughs and he rubs the pen on his blood and signs the contract. I was like, oh my god, like, that shot was, like, epic.
You know, the only thing I have to say, and again, admittedly, I've not followed the show. I get Samoa Joe was supposed to be the heel. That's at least understood, right? But I hate to say it, but honestly, Strickland all of a sudden bitch punching him, and then all of a sudden starting to choke him with the chain, and Joe being like, I don't. It was weird because he really never felt like he was choked. He was like, "You trying to choke me, bitch?" You know, and then turned around and wrapped it around his hand and beat him. I mean, it was a good beatdown, and the blood was good. The poking of the head, all that sort of stuff was great, but I don't know. I was kind of thrown off by him all of a sudden choking Joe. I'm like, well, wait a minute. Hold on. You're supposed to be the baby face here. I get that Joe's a monster. But even after, what happened after the blood thing and Joe coming back, putting him through a table at the end, I'm like, really didn't end up helping you. It did it. So, I don't know. It was weird.
I also says this was a defining moment for Swerve, in my opinion. The blood on the contract, the promo slammed to the table. Yeah, it definitely was a defining moment for him. And I honestly, like, part of me thinks that somehow, some way, Samoa Joe is going to retain here. I don't think he should. I think Swerve Strickland should win. But if he does retain, it's definitely not going to be a clean finish.
No, I mean, look, after this, to me, I think it should be a first blood match. And you could have it to be where Joe, what I would love for Joe, because Joe's so smart, right, and so crafty, it could be where Joe's busted open, the referee's out, all of a sudden he does this, wipes it on Strickland, he backs off, rolls out of the ring, the referee sees Strickland bleeding, boom, he wins. And then you can get to a cage match maybe at, it's double or nothing, right? So it could be a extra stipulation there to make. I think they can make one more match out of it. Why not?
Oh my god! Like, I honestly do not know how that match was gonna play out. I want Sir Strickland to win. I think it's his time. Let's see, Joe should have told Sir Strickland, sign the contract, big boy, sign the contract, just like Mike Tyson. So yeah, that was a defining moment for him. This was overall a good segment.
I was surprised they had Joe come back and put him through the table. I thought it was good because it kind of established Joe as a monster, but I was like, oh wow, Joe kind of got his payback on that, him laughing and signing the contract saying, okay, big boy, I'm going to show you, laughing at me. So again, it was good, but I was surprised he was successful in putting him through the table. I really thought that was, I don't want to say too much, but I don't know. I loved it overall. Don't get me wrong. The segment, I loved it, but I was surprised Joe came back out, slammed him to the table, and literally went off the air with the belt in the air. So,
well, he wasn't going to let Sir Strickland have the last laugh. He's the AEW World Champion.
Sure. Typical of Joe, I will say that. But I mean, again, I was surprised given we're going into a pay-per-view, but we got a couple of weeks yet. So
He's the one true king of television.
I do like that moniker.
All right. So let's rewind to the beginning. We got Will Ospreay versus Powerhouse Hobbs. Now, at the end of Adam Copeland's promo, he introduced Will Ospreay as the man who symbolizes everything AEW will be going forward. But Will Ospreay, they shook hands, and this led into that. This match with Hobbs, I thought was a really good match. At the end, after Will Ospreay won, it seemed like Powerhouse Hobbs was not too happy. He got in his face, and Don Callis had to get in between them. And I kind of feel like maybe it might lead to some disascension between the Don Callis family, especially because he's having them fight each other. And then at the end, when Will Ospreay's walking away and Bryan Danielson comes out, they have that little stare down. I'm so excited for AEW Dynamite. I cannot wait for that match. But what are your thoughts on this match and that little moment with Hobbs and Ospreay and Bryan?
So I got to say, to me, and again, like I said, I've not watched AEW in a while, right? I knew of Powerhouse Hobbs, know the characters at least well enough, right? But to me, this made me really look at Powerhouse Hobbs differently because, I mean, him taking up Ospreay, doing a body slam, 1, 2, 3 on this. Now, that may be something he does a lot, but that's the first time I had seen him do the body slams on the side of the ring, so that was impressive. The high flying was good. Everything felt crisp. The only thing that made me wonder after the end when he was getting in his face is they noticed when he did his, not his final slice finisher, but the top rope move at the end, I don't even know what you call it, but his Will Ospreay's crazy move that he did before he did the final finisher on him. It did look like his knee hit Hobbs's head. So I kind of thought at the end, well, maybe there might be a little bit more to that anger of him getting into his face than, I mean, granted, yes, it probably was part of a storyline, but I mean, he didn't look very happy that he got hit on the head with his knee.
I wouldn't be happy if I got hit in the head with a knee.
So I kind of wonder if there was a little bit more stink to that sort of getting up in his face because Callis was kind of like, okay, back up. So I like it overall. I like the little showmanship that Ospreay and Danielson have about okay, I'm going to show you up. So I really like this match. It really was a good opener. I was very happy with this opener.
Same. And this leads into Lance Archer versus Bryan Danielson. I have to say, I really appreciated that it was a continuous flow and everything was leading into each other.
Oh, it was wonderful. I was going to say, I mean, I don't know if AEW's been that lately, but tonight was total. I mean, again, pun intended, right? But it was total nonstop action. There was no lull, really. I mean, again, there was an interview here or there that took a little bit of time, but everything seemed to be very in sync with each other. So what's funny about the Murder Hawk Monsters, I remember seeing him way back in the day when he used to wrestle for a little organization in Dallas called PCW, and he was called Shadow. So it's funny seeing him, 20 something years later on AEW. It's so crazy to think yeah, that too. Yeah, especially. But I mean, it's so funny seeing him 20 years later. I remember him being this little independent guy as his rookie year. But this was a great match too.
Yeah, it definitely was. I really liked Lance Archer versus Bryan Danielson. Of course, Bryan Danielson won. No surprise there.
But the brutal kicks I thought was good. But he was going to hit his finisher, right? And the running knee, I guess. And then, the Murder Hawk Monster grabs him up, is going to try to choke slam him. He kicks him again, through 3 times, I think, in the head, and then goes back. It really was a great sequence of moves. It really was very, very, I got to say, the match between them two is going to be pretty freaking epic. And I mean, it might make me order the pay-per-view. It just might get me.
Between Will Ospreay and Bryan Danielson, I agree. I'm not going to be able to watch that pay-per-view live, though. I'm not going to be able to watch it live. I'm going to be at the TNA Rebellion tapings.
Oh, man. Your heart's going to be in 2 places at that point. Jeez.
To be fair, I bought my ticket to the tapings before AEW announced Dynasty.
Right. Well, maybe I'll watch the pay-per-view so that, while you're watching Rebellion, I can watch Dynasty, and maybe we can, have some sort of crazy 2-night thing or something. So we'll talk about it.
Dynasty's Rebellion's April 20th, and Dynasty's April 21st. So they're literally back to back.
Back to back. Yeah.
We'll figure something out. We'll talk later.
Yeah.
So next we get a Lionheart Chris Jericho interview with Hook. I didn't know Hook had a symbol. Who is he, Batman?
I was going to ask you about that. I'm like, wait, Hook has a symbol now? I didn't understand that either.
I didn't get that either. Now, I do like the fact that Chris Jericho references his own song, Fozzy, where he says, "Everyone I ever loved, I pushed away."
That was cute.
But the one thing I kind of don't like about this is the fact that we're getting a Lion Hook pairing. And it's funny, though, because both Chris Jericho and Hook have had multiple tag team partners. Chris Jericho has been, let me see. I still don't understand Hook's gimmick. Yeah, I could see that. Chris Jericho's been tag team partners with Sammy Guevara as the Sex Gods. He's been with Kenny Omega as the Golden Jets. Now he's trying to do with Hook as Lion Hook. Hook, the same thing. He had Hook Housing when he was partnered with Dan Housing, Jungle Hook when he was with Jungle Boy Jack Perry, and now Chris Jericho's is Lion Hook.
Yeah, it's so Jericho's so in an odd space because I mean, again, I keep up with AEW here and there, right? I kind of like keep up with the storylines a little bit, and I'm like, okay, wait, he was with Kenny Omega, wait, now he's back with Guevara, wait, now he's with Hook. So Jericho's been kind of, whoring for tag team partners, and unfortunately Hook has as well. It seems like because they can't keep a lover at all. So I mean, I don't dislike the idea of it, but I mean, we all kind of know unless they swerve us and Hook turns heel, Jericho is Jericho always.
And he even says that. He said he'll be keeping an eye on Jericho. And like we find out, they're going to face Shane Taylor promotion. So I do think that Chris Jericho and Hook are winning that match.
Easily. I mean, why they might as well say we're going to get our asses kicked on Collision. You want to watch? So
I don't know if anyone's going to watch Collision. It's WrestleMania weekend.
Yeah, and that's kind of the sad thing. I mean, I like the idea of Hook and Jericho together. It gives, a little bit of a push or a little bit of rub, I guess, to Hook. But I kind of do. I was hoping for a little bit more from Taz, right? Because he's on commentary, right? Saying, I've fought Jericho 100,000 times, and son, you got to watch out for something because they do have history together in ECW.
Yeah. But we didn't get that.
No.
So next we get Jay White versus Daddy Ass. Daddy Ass, like, as Jay White was doing his entrance, like, Daddy Ass just attacked him. He was throwing him around the arena, and, they even went over the barricade and stuff. You see the Acclaim and the Guns watching backstage, and I did like the spot where Jay White hit behind the security, but
yeah, what
I didn't like was the Acclaim and the Guns appearing, and then Jay White basically lost this match by a DQ because he low blow Daddy Ass.
Yeah, that was kind of strange, but I'll tell you this much though, Daddy Ass still has it. That boy built heat in the first 2 minutes of a match. And they said, yeah, Jay White went in his house. I didn't see all that, of course, admittedly, but just seeing him attack him and them telling that short segment of story and see Daddy Ass's response of beating the heck out of Jay White to start with says it all. That right there to me should be something that we need. That's heat right there. Because, I mean, I don't know. It makes me think like how in the heck Billy Gunn has not been a world champion somewhere after all this time still makes no sense to me because he sold me that story in that match between them two in the first 2 minutes.
So then, like, I feel like the ending segment after this match kind of went on a little too long.
Yeah, it did.
So we get a Willow Nightingale interview, and she's basically talking about how, like, she feels so confident with the love and support from the fans, and that she will be the smiling face of TBS. Long story short, Mercedes Moné comes out, and she makes it known that she's going to challenge the winner of Julia Hart versus Willow Nightingale at Double or Nothing, which I feel kind of makes it obvious that Willow Nightingale will defeat Julia Hart at Dynasty.
Yep.
Now, I didn't have a problem with what Willow said. Her promo was all right. What I have an issue with is I feel like her booking kind of hasn't made sense. Like, 1 minute you tease her About you do her teasing a chair shot, like when the lights went out and she was about to hit Mercedes with that chair, and now
Right.
you're having her cutting a babyface promo. It's like, what do you like? Is she gonna be a heel? Or is she gonna be a face here? You get me?
I think they're keeping her in that role because it depends on how everybody's going to react to Monet. To me, I'm like, please go away already. But, I think that's the difference because if you heard the crowd, right, they're going CEO, CEO. So I really think they're kind of giving this character sort of I could be held, but look, you're supposed to really cheer for me. You're not supposed to like Monet because she's not supposed to be a good person, at least, based on whatever character they're going with. But I think it depends on if Monet is over with the crowd and is a babyface, they're going to turn Nightingale heel. They're kind of giving themselves an out one way or the other.
I agree with me. What are they doing with Willow? And if you're gonna turn her heel, but don't do the wishy-wash. Like, okay, you tease a chair shot, and now you're cutting a babyface promo here. It's like, either turn her heel or keep her babyface.
You know what was kind of weird too? I kind of get the idea behind it, but they kind of did the old WWF interview segment with the camera panning to the crowd with their backs to the crowd, which I thought was unique. I've not seen that in quite a while.
Yeah. But like I was saying, I think it's obvious it's going to be Willow Nightingale and Mercedes Moné for that TBS title at Double or Nothing. I don't know if I'll be there. I don't know. There's a lot going on that weekend.
Yeah. Poor Julia Hart. That's all I can say because I thought she was starting to get some momentum, but again, you got to sacrifice.
I wouldn't mind Julia Hart versus Mercedes Moné, but the story they're telling is the fact that Mercedes Moné has unfinished business with Willow Nightingale.
From NJPW, I think, right? Or is it Stardom? I can't remember.
NJPW, New Japan, yeah.
Got it.
So next we get the semifinal match for the AEW World Tag Team Title Tournament. It's the Young Bucks versus Best Friends. Now, early in the night when the Young Bucks arrived, they looked like Dumb and Dumber.
I think they did that on purpose.
Color suits that they had on. Harry and Lloyd.
Yes, Harry and Lloyd, yes. Especially with the orange. The orange is what gave it away for me. I'm like, oh, they're doing a Dumb and Dumber thing. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, Dumb and Dumber. But I thought this was a great match. I felt like it was kind of obvious the Bucks are going to win this, especially Okada's champion. It would make sense if the Elite hosts all the gold. What I wasn't expecting was the ending. So after the Young Bucks won, Matthew, because, we got to call him by his God-given name. I should be calling you by your God-given name, Joshua.
Yes. I'll take it for tonight. Why not?
With a handful of trucks, Trent Beretta attacked Orange Cassidy, and he walked past his mom and Chuck Taylor. We saw some hints of this, like last year during World's End. He threw Danhausen over the top rope. So it was there. But, I guess he was, upset, they lost the match. His mom was out there. I'm curious to see where this goes. Are we going to see a breakup of the Best Friends? Is Trent and Cassidy getting a feud? What's going to happen with Chuck Taylor?
It's funny. As I was watching this match, right, and I was seeing the part where I think it was Matthew was interacting with Sue, I almost thought in my head, I'm like, what would be cool if Sue turned heel on her son and all that sort of stuff, right? Because just why the heck not? But now seeing Trent turn on Orange Cassidy, I was kind of hoping he was going to hug his mom and his mom was going to slap Cassidy too and just make a heel team because why in the heck not? You might as well use her. And now she could be Susan instead of Sue, right?
Oh, that's cool.
Join the Elite, right? And it could be Susan and it could be Trenton instead of Trent or whatever his name is, right? So I don't know. I liked it. I mean, I didn't expect the heel turn, but I loved the tease of them going to do something, and then boom, he attacks Cassidy. I liked it. I was surprised.
Well, Sue did slap Matthew during the match.
I know, but I still want. No, I'm talking about she should have slapped Cassidy whenever Trent turned. It should have been like, "Oh, I'm so sorry."
Turning heel and aligning herself with her son.
Why not make? I mean, because the mom's going to support her son no matter what, right? So it would have made sense to me. Yeah, I like this though. I liked the tease and I liked the unexpected all of a sudden turning. For me, not watching it, I was like, oh, really cool. It made me really interested in the story.
Me too. I want to know what's going to happen next. All right, next we get Mariah May versus Thunder Rosa. This was a good match.
Yes.
Thunder Rosa. Okay, help me out here. Was Thunder Rosa dressed as Wolverine? Because she's worn that attire before, and she's had the claws.
I think so. I was kind of thinking that myself. I'm like, that yellow and blue combination makes me think of X-Men 97, right, of the Wolverine character. But again, I don't know. I don't know the character Thunder Rosa besides just the name. But I mean, if it's an homage, I'll take it.
It's not the first time she wears that. Last time she wore it with the claws. So I was like,
yeah, that's Wolverine then. Attire. That's Wolverine then. Yeah, she must be an X-Men nerd, which is great.
I love it when she pays homage. Last time she played homage to Selena. She was White Dino Thunder Ranger. So it was
cool.
But this was a good match. To me, it wasn't too much of a shock that Thunder Rosa won this because she is owed a rematch. You know, she never got her rematch for a title that she never lost, technically. I don't understand why it took them this long to give her match with Toni Storm. I also knew that Mariah May was going to lose this because of the story that they're telling between Mariah and Toni Storm. But I question where Deonna Purrazzo was in all of this because Deonna Purrazzo teamed up with Thunder Rosa to take on Mariah May and Toni Storm. And Deonna Purrazzo also has unfinished business with Toni Storm. So, you know, I'm surprised she wasn't out there supporting Thunder Rosa.
Could there be, and again, I don't know, again, based on the story, I know kind of the history of Deonna Purrazzo and Toni Storm, but could we see a fatal four-way? Maybe to the idea of that, you know, Mariah May is supposed to help Toni Storm in the match, and maybe she loses it, and that gets their feud going because she cost her the title, technically. I mean, you could have Deonna Purrazzo just say, look, I want to challenge for the title too. And we have a singles match with Monet and possibly Nightingale in Double or Nothing, and then a fatal four-way because, look, you have all these characters intertwining. Why not have a fatal four-way match? And maybe have May cost Storm the title, and that kicks off their feud, and then let's say it's Thunder Rosa or let's say it's Deonna Purrazzo, they end up feuding with each other. Why not?
I assume we might get a triple threat at Double or Nothing. I could see that happening.
Yeah.
They have no clue what to do with yeah. Hi, Michael. Deonna Purrazzo has already defeated Thunder Rosa.
Mm-hmm.
You know, at Summerversary 2021, when she was Knockouts champion, she successfully defended her title against Thunder Rosa.
Oh, okay. So there's history there too then. Okay, well, see, I mean, you could play into a lot of that single story, even a triple threat. And again, Mariah May could still cost Toni Storm the title somehow. That's what it seems like it's leading to. That'd be my guesstimation.
Yeah. It's going to be Thunder Rosa versus Toni Storm at AEW Dynasty, with more than likely Toni Storm retaining.
Which I'm okay with that. I like her as a character.
One last thing, I did appreciate Toni Storm's reaction upon seeing Thunder Rosa win this match. She was just like silent.
Luther was the best for me when he was just like, oh, that was perfect. I was like, that's tremendous. Those are little things that I love to see. Those little meta things in the background.
Yeah. All right. The last thing we're talking about is the segment with Penta es cero miedo. He basically challenged Adam Copeland for that TNT title next week on Dynamite. That's going to be one hell of a match. I cannot wait. And I'm going to DVR Collision because I definitely want to see Penta es cero miedo versus Commander.
I was excited about it.
I knew who was winning. Okay.
I was excited for that. I'm like, ooh, I would have not thought of that as a match I would see. But I'm like, you know, I don't know. I know of the Penta character. I understand he's really talented. So I definitely am be curious to see how Adam Copeland's going to do versus Penta. And I only say Penta because you can say the full name better than I can even try. So I don't want to butcher it or make it sound so terribly not authentic.
What, Penta es cero miedo?
Yes, that way. What you said.
Fun fact, they missed it's zero. The zero in his name is spelled in English. It should be with the C because in Spanish it's spelled with the C.
Really? That's interesting.
Yeah, es cero miedo. Penta versus Commander is going to be great. Yes, it definitely is. All right, so we're going to stop there because we already talked about the contract signing. Now, on a scale from a 1 to a Sean Spears perfect 10, what did you think of tonight's show?
You know, I'm going to give it an 8. I really, really, really liked it. I really did not feel any of the matches drug along. I was engaged. I felt that everything tied in together. The only and I dare say even little mark against it. I won't give it a 9, but the Willow promo was a little kind of icky because it was like, okay, I get the cheer face and all that sort of stuff, but beyond that, it was a great show. It was very, very clean and crisp. A lot of cool things happened tonight. I mean, again, not watching AEW for a long time, just and I forgot to mention this earlier, Archer slamming the random staff member onto Danielson. That was such a surprise. So it really was a good show overall.
Michael gives it a 5 out of 10.
Oh.
Yeah. You know,
okay.
To me, I'd have to give it a 7.5 out of 10. Overall, I did think tonight was a great show. I did like a lot of the matches. There were a couple of things I disliked. I really disliked that finish to the Daddy Ass versus Jay White match. I mean, you basically lost the match because you low blowed somebody in front of the ref. And I wasn't feeling Willow Nightingale's promo. Again, not that again, they got to decide, is she a face? Is she going to be a heel? You know?
Right.
So just those two minor things, really. And that kind of, brought the show down a little bit, if you ask me. So I like Willow, but decide what she's going to be, a heel or a face.
Right. I still think it's just based on what the crowd's going to be for Vegas for Monet. Is it going to be, yeah, we like her or we don't like her? Because she's really not giving you any reason to dislike her, but I can't really say I have any reason to like her per se at this point. So, I mean, they're both they could both turn either way.
The contract signing was really good. Didn't but you bust it open. Yeah, I don't think any of us did. That was really good. So, alrighty. Josh, as we get ready to wrap up, where can people find you?
Just on Exit Gamer Peroski now, and then again, I'll be doing some NXT review shows going forward on the A Plus Hero report as well, and then I'll be doing some dual cast with you as well coming up. A lot of them actually, so that's exciting too.
Trent Jenny Hill, I'm interested where they're going with it. Yeah, me too. I'm very fascinated. Yes, as for myself, you can follow me on Twitter at @Attila_. Talk all things wrestling, Raw, SmackDown, AEW Dynamite, Collision, Rampage, TNA, wrestling. As far as tomorrow is concerned, if you like TNA, you can catch me on Body Slam, talking all things TNA. That includes Impact and Explosion. And immediately after that, we're going to be doing a simulcast of our WrestleMania predictions. And then on Friday, we're doing another simulcast where we're covering SmackDown Go Home Show to WrestleMania. Simulcast for NXT Stand and Deliver. Simulcast for WrestleMania's Night 1 and 2. Simulcast for Raw Go After Mania. Simulcast for SmackDown After Mania. And last but certainly not least, you and I are going to be doing a review of NXT after Stand and Deliver, which is not going to be a simulcast, exclusively on A Plus Hero Report. So if I don't see you guys tomorrow on Body Slam, I'll definitely see you guys here Friday for the Go Home Show to WrestleMania. Bye.
See ya.